Do a quick video to show you a walkthrough on how to create a problem. Again, you can request these in the links in the announcements, but for right now, we're going to do the one that I showed everybody in class. This is Blackjack. Up at the top, we've got our header. A lot of people keep putting my name and heritage, even though you're from a different school. Sharing that. Blackjack is the name of our code, and I've got my basic skeleton here. Now, this problem requires us to read in two different hands, which means we do have to use our scanner. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my utility folder, import java.util.wildcard. That's the name of that asterisk. And then inside here is where I'm going to create my scanner. Now I'm going to name mine just scan equals new scanner system.in done. Now, there are other types of scanners. You can use whatever name you want. Just be consistent. Whatever name you use here is what you're going to have to use later on. So I'm going to ask my user for their hand. Enter player one's hand value. And you can change up the text if you like. Integer play one equals, here's where my scanner comes in, dot next int. There you go. Now, I do need to make player two, so I'm just going to copy paste, and I'm going to change the values. And now I've got these. Okay? Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to judge it based on what the end results are going to be. Now, per the lab, there's four outputs we're looking for. So we're looking for if they both bust, which means they both exceed 21. If you've forgotten how to play blackjack. We're looking to see if they both didn't bust, but they tied. And then we've got player one wins and player two wins. Okay, so we need to code for each of those using just those two inputs that we've got. So both bust is pretty easy. So I'll start that first, and I'll let my if test. So each one is separate, so they've got their own little parentheses inside here. So if play one is greater than 21, double ampersand means and. Play two is greater than 21. Both players bust. There you go. There's my first one. And that's the only way we can get both players busting. Now you're noticing I'm leaving my comments in here. That's optional, but they also are kind of contents and let you know what each part does. Okay? Now, the thing is, you can get wins from the other player busting. So while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and expand this, and I'll even get a little bit more done. Now we just need one right now. So if player one is over 21 and player two is less than or equal to 21, then that is the first example of player two wins. Okay? So this is just one player busting. Okay, and I'll change my numbers down here. In this case, player two is greater than 21, and player one is less than. And if that's the case, player one wins. Okay, now there's every possibility of busting, whether it's both or just one of them. Now, everything we do after this means we're actually playing the game. So now we need to check values. Okay, after that, a tie is really easy. I'm just going to copy paste and save me a little typing. So if player two equals player one, then we have a tie. Okay. Now the other two variables down here, these are pretty straightforward and they're real simple. remember, we've already eliminated if one of them busts. So player 1 wins as long as player 1 is greater than player 2. And then player 2 wins if the opposite is true. Now, right now, all of these are independent ifs. So the last thing we need to do is we need to block or link them all together. Now, the first one is if. That's fine right there. Second one, and everyone else, is going to be an else if, because I want these to all be checked until I find a true statement, and then I only print one line, no matter what. Okay? Now, for the purposes of this, I'm also going to add an else statement just to make sure that nothing's wrong. Should never print. But it's there just in case. Remember, else is a catch-all. So if for some reason it gets through all 6 of these tests and it never triggers, then I'll get this error right here. Okay? So let's try. We've got 4 different outcomes, 6 different tests we're trying. So let's just go down the list. Okay. Player 1's hand, we'll start with both busting, 24 and 22. Both players bust. It works. Okay. If we just get one bust, so 24 and 17, that works. Flip it. 17, 24, that works. Now we're looking at a tie, okay, but they can't bust, so we can't enter high numbers. So let's do real quick. Good. Now we just check player 1 over player 2. Good. And player 2 over player 1. Good. So that is it. That's the entire code right there, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you.